My name is Rusty Smith, and I work as a captain aboard the charter vessel Entertainer here on Pensacola Beach. My typical day involves all sorts of things, from diesel maintenance, every day turning wrenches on the motors, keeping the motors running, to booking charters from clients that approach us from online or calling our business line, scheduling, maintaining 4 employees, staying on top of the day-to-day cleaning of the boat. The fishing is the easiest part of my job. When we leave the dock, we love to go fishing because that's the simplest part. Everybody always says you've got it made in the shade, but on a day-to-day basis, we work 360 days a year on preventative maintenance and taking care of all the stuff, all the ingredients involved. How our day kind of starts out is we generally will leave the dock around 6:30 a.m. and I wake up about 4:30 and get to the boat about an hour before our clients. And once I get to the boat, I make sure, of course, our 2 mates are on board and ready. They get out our day-to-day tackle on the boat, provisions for the day. Once I get here, I step on board, put all my books and backpack and so forth upstairs in the wheelhouse, and I come down and have to check on the maintenance of the motors. That is the #1 ingredient of my job, is to take care to maintain everything there is in the engine room, as far as 12 different pumps, generator, two main engines. I check the oil on those, and they come out of the engine room, and about that time our customers show up, and we get them loaded up. They set all their drinks and food and everything inside the boat, and then we take off. We've got 8.5 miles down the bay, and once we enter the Gulf there, after those 8.5 miles, we generally run for about anywhere from an hour to hour and 15 minutes until we start fishing. I would definitely say our biggest stress factor in this business is Mother Nature. Mother Nature has a huge impact on how we make a living. On a daily basis, one season, our season generally runs from April 15th to the 1st or 2nd week in November. And in that time frame, Mother Nature really puts a wear on us from time to time. One week it'll be mirror slick calm, and we feel like we live the absolute best job there is. And the next week it's 6 to 8 feet. We have a lot of customers that fly in to fish with us every year. And for them to fly in to book a trip a year in advance, and for them to fly in and have a 4-day window to go fishing in it, for the conditions to be to be a boat captain and to go to sea school. Sea school is basically an academy that is given. It's a United States Coast Guard regulated course that's given to a couple different places along the Gulf Coast. It changes around this part of the world on a regular basis, but it is a 90 to 100-hour course, and they go over rules of the road, how to set and plot a course, set and drift, different skills involved with what we do on a day-to-day basis. It's a lot more old school, if I can use that phrase. It's a lot more old school than the technology that we have available today, and they go through pretty much everything. On the other side of that, they're the prerequisite to get the paperwork in order to have my job. You've got to have multiple days on the water. It could be, and it only goes back to when you're 16 years of age. So the minimum requirement to have any kind of master's license similar to mine is 19 years of age. For example, my license, a 100-ton master's license, you've got to have 780 days on the water with an 8-hour minimum, and 180 of those days have to be on a vessel over 75 tons. A couple other different things. We're required first aid, CPR. On a general basis, the best thing for our job, aside the fact of sea school, is personality. You've got to have an outgoing personality. You've got to be fit, and you've got to live a normal lifestyle. We kind of tell everybody on a general basis that we're basically professional athletes. You have to eat, sleep, and drink as if you're waking up playing a professional game the following day. It's one of those things where a lot of fishermen live outside the box, and us and a lot of other good friends of mine totally love their lifestyle, and they do those simple things. They go to sea school and live the right lifestyle. The best part about my job is, hands down, has got to be meeting the folks that we meet on a daily basis. We have relationships with folks that is almost, in a way, a distant family. We meet great individuals. We have people fish with us every year that we love being around, that we make relationships with. Also, a great perk of the job is seeing somebody's reaction to the first time they catch the nicest fish, the biggest fish, or the only fish they've ever caught their entire life. And at the end of the year, for me, it's like running a marathon. When you reach the end of the season, and to know that solemnly, because of me, I've provided a living for 4 people and met thousands of new people, is just what does it for me day in and day out. And I would say that the worst parts about the job are unexpected mechanical issues, to where, it's very similar to saltwater farming. You cannot go home unless the boat is in perfect shape, everything running. There are plenty of days each season. Every one of my competitors or my accomplices, they know how it feels to go home at the end of the day knowing that something's broke. Our day never ends. It's if something's broke in the engine room and you've got the next 20 days booked, you have to work that evening throughout the night in order to get things rolling for the next morning. We've got people flying in that you just cannot cancel due to simple stuff you can fix. Also, the cleanliness of the job. I'm personally a neat freak. I like to keep things clean, but our help, it's hard to train somebody to be a mate or to be a deckhand and teach them the right ways of doing things. We have to, at the end of the day, we have to basically shut down shop and start over from scratch. It's never-ending cleaning, and people just assume when we get in that, done cleaning fish, that we spray the boat off just real quickly and go home. But it really and truly entails prepping everything from the bathroom to the forward bunk rooms to scrubbing the hull for an extra 2.5 hours. And it's just one of those jobs where you truly have to love it to do it, because you take it home 120% throughout the season. The summer months, I have a family, and I love them to death, and I love being there, but at the same time, it's hard to eat dinner and not think about things you have to do in advance to prep for the next week or 2 or whatever else. No matter if it's changing the oil or ordering bait or ordering rods and reel parts or making sure your employees know what the schedule is. If one of your employees has to take a day off, a lot of those things run through your mind all the time. And I know it seems like a lot, but the biggest thing is, a lot of careers, you don't take your job home. It's a 9 to 5. This job, throughout, since it's seasonal, you definitely take it home. The biggest thing is, if you love to work hard and you love to be around different customers every day, or different people, if you're outgoing, if you enjoy being around different folks, and for me it was being around the water. I grew up around the water and loved every minute of it, and I just had to do what I'm doing now. If it's something that entices you, what my biggest advice is just to succeed in college, stay in college, get a degree. A huge plus in what I do would be a simple business degree. At the same time, if you just want to be a captain, you don't necessarily have to have a bachelor's degree in business. You just need to document time on your family's boat, on local boats. I started as a deckhand. If something you want to do, just start out working with other boats, come around the dock, meet new people. You can never work on enough boats at a young age. There's all sorts of different things you can do for folks. You can start cleaning the boats. You can start, if you walked up and asked me today, hey man, are you hiring? Do you need somebody young working with you and you want to get to know the business? You have to be outgoing. You've got to willing and able to work day in and day out. I've got a lot of good buddies of mine that went to the Maritime Academy. The boating was something they wanted to do forever. They went to the Maritime Academy in New York, and there's all sorts of different options. You just have to get a summertime job and to experience being in the outdoors and being outside and sweating to make a living. It really changes your perspective on a lot of things, and there's a lot of ingredients it takes to do what we do. Just biggest things are willing and able, wanting to work, having to work and to get your sea time put in.